To help get us started with this project, I'm going to be using an already existing free Vectric project called CoolCubes. And that will be included in your tutorials folder. So if we go ahead and go over to Open Existing File, navigate over to your tutorial folder, you'll see a file called cool_cubes_edit.crv. So we'll select that and we'll open this up. Now right away, you're going to see we have 5 different sides of our cool cube. The bottom panel is missing because it's a really basic square that we assume that you'll be able to create on your own. You'll see we have a side panel, another side panel, a rear panel, a front panel, and then a top panel. We also have 2 holes here that represent dowel holes, and we'll talk about those in a bit. Now on the top side of our project, we'll be cutting the slots to accept the side panel so we can glue it all up. And on the bottom side, we'll actually be cutting these decorative circles, and also we'll be using it to cut out these panels. So the outside square will be our cutout profile toolpath to cut out the panels so that we can assemble this box together. Now as this file starts out, it's only a single-sided job. So our first step is to go into our job setup and change it to a double-sided job. Now everything here is going to stay exactly the same in our job size as it was in the original file, but we're going to change where we're going to be zeroing our tool off of our material. We're going to be zeroing off the same side. So we're going to be zeroing off our material surface on the top side, and that's so we can reference the same side of that material. We're going to be zeroing off our machine bed for the second side, which is actually the top side of our material. The datum will be staying the same. We're going to be flipping left to right, but we do have the option to flip from bottom to top. Just remember the way this arrow is facing right now, because we'll look at that in a second later on in our interface. And we can just go ahead and click OK. Now we'll go ahead and tile our views. That'll make things a little bit easier for us to see. So in our top panel, we have our 2D view, and in our bottom panel, we have our 3D view. You'll notice we have some new icons that have shown up. This first icon will toggle on and off our double-sided view, not only in our 2D view and our 3D view, but also when it comes to previewing our toolpaths in full 3D with the front and back in situ. This icon here shows us the direction of flip. It's left to right, just like we had set up in our job setup. If we need to change it to bottom to top, we can go back into our job setup and just flip that around. You'll notice that when we flip to our back side of our job, then in our 2D view, we can tell right away that we're in our backside of our project because the rules are now a different color. And in our 3D view, you'll notice that our view control now has a black bold square around the text bottom. And so if I go ahead and just double click on that, it'll flip us to the top, and you see that the top doesn't have that black border. So we can just go ahead and flip back to our other side again. I'm sure you've already noticed that I can see the vectors from the top side of my job on the bottom side. This is really handy when it comes to referencing where my vectors are on the other side of my material. And as you can see here, they are a light gray or a light green, and I can't actually select them from the opposite side of my job. I need to be on the side of the job that those vectors are on. This is also a good time to point out that our snapping will reference geometry on the other side of our job if we have our double-sided view turned on. So from here, most of our work can be done with just a 3D view. So let's just go ahead and flip over to our top side of our job again and maximize our 3D view. I want to point out again that because this is a double-sided job, that the top indicator on our view control has been outlined in black. So we know that we're on the top side of our job in our 3D view. Our next step is going to be to organize our file a little bit. So we're going to want to select and move all of our vectors that we want to cut on the bottom of our material to the bottom side of our job. So to do that, I'm going to go ahead and marquee select, holding down my shift key, all the decorative circles and the outside square that we're going to be using as our profile cut to cut out our panels. And then we'll right click on those, go down to move to other side. And you see that as soon as I do that, they become that gray color because they're on the other side of our job. If we go ahead and flip to our other side of our job, you'll see that there they are. and the vectors on our top side have now been grayed out. I can also go ahead and turn off my double-sided view so then I can hide those vectors on the bottom side. Let's turn those back on for now. Now we have everything that we need to go ahead and to start some tooling. So let's do that. Let's go over to our Toolpath tab. So the first thing we're going to do, as always, is to check out our material setup. So the thickness of material is a 1/2 inch. Our datum is going to be set to the bottom left-hand corner. And because we're cutting the top side of our job, we're going to be zeroing off our material surface. Our rapid Z-gaps above our material and our home start position are safe and appropriate for our machine and the material we're using. So we're just going to go ahead and click OK. First off, we'll go ahead and choose these horizontal pockets. And we'll create a pocket toolpath. Our start depth is going to be 0. We're going to cut down 1/8 of an inch. We're going to be using a 1/4 inch end mill. So we're going to remove this bit out of there and we'll select a brand new one out of our tool database. Make sure that we choose the right material. Make sure that we choose the proper machine. And we'll go ahead and grab that 1/4 inch end mill and select that. Okay, we're going to use a raster toolpath and we're going to raster back and forth. So we're going to leave our raster angle at 0. And we'll set our profile path to last. And we'll just rename this pockets. We'll calculate that. And then we can preview that visible toolpath. You see there we have it right there. It's great. Let's look back down on the top of that again. Let's close that down. Let's go ahead and select these upper. Let's just go ahead and select the vertical pockets that we need to assemble our box. We'll choose the pocket toolpath again. This time we're going to cut a little bit deeper. We're going to cut down 1/4 inch. Use that same end mill. This time around though, we're going to change our raster angle to be 90 degrees. That way they'll cut up and down. And we just go ahead and we'll call that pocket 1 and we'll calculate that. And we can preview that visible toolpath. And let's close that down. Now the last thing we're going to need to do is to create our dowel hole. So we'll select these 2 circles by holding down our shift key. And we're going to use our drill toolpath for this. We're going to have a start depth of 0. And in this case, we want to cut all the way through our material and straight into our spoil board. So we're going to go ahead and cut down 1 inch. We'll use this drill bit. That'll be fine. And we'll go ahead and we'll select calculate. And we'll be throwing up this warning. And we already know that we're cutting through our material into our spoil board. So that's okay. So we'll select OK. Then we can preview that visible toolpath. So when we get around to cutting these toolpaths on our machine, we're going to cut these 3 toolpaths. And then we're going to take our material off our table. And we're going to insert in our dowels into the holes that are now into our spoil board. We'll flip our material left to right, like we had set up in our job setup. And if you forget that, then obviously we can look at this icon right here. Put that material back down on our machine, and then continue to cut the toolpaths that we're going to create on the back side of our job. And let's go back to the top of our material. There we have it. That looks great. Let's look back down on our top again. Let's close down our toolpath preview. And let's flip over to our bottom side of our material. Okay, now that we've flipped our job over, let's go ahead and check our material setup again. Okay, our thickness of our material is still at 1/2 inch. Our datum set to the bottom left corner like it should be, but you'll see that we are now going to be zeroing off our machine bed. Remember when we set up our job, we said we would always be setting our Z0 off the same side of our material. So in this case, when we flip our material over, the face of our material is against our machine bed. Also, you'll notice that in our pictorial here, that the red vector is at the bottom of our material. And notice that in our 3D view, our vectors are slightly lighter than they were on the other side. Again, this shows off that we are zeroing off our machine bed, not the top of our material. Our rapid Z-gaps and our home start position are safe and appropriate for the side of our material, so we can just go ahead now and click OK. Again, we'll be warned that those drill holes are going to be cutting all the way through our material and more, and we know that, so that's okay. Let's just go ahead now and choose all of our circles. So holding down our Shift key, we're just going to marquee select all of our circles. Then we're going to choose our pocket toolpath. And we're going to start at 0, and we're going to cut down 1/8 of an inch. We're not going to use an end mill, so we'll remove that, and we'll select a brand new tool. We're going to use a 1/4 inch ball nose, so we'll select that. We use offset tooling, and we're going to go and call this circles, and we'll calculate that, and we'll preview our visible toolpaths. And those look great, just like I expected. Let's go ahead and look back down at our bottom again. Let's close down our preview toolpath dialog. Then we'll go ahead and choose these last vectors that we need. Holding down our Shift key, we can select all of those outside profile boxes. Create a profile cut. In this case, our start depth is going to be at 0. We're going to cut all the way through our material. So I can just type in Z and press equals on my keyboard. We'll use that same end mill. We're going to cut outside those lines. We're going to add in some tabs. If we have a look at our 2D view for a second, you'll see that we have tabs in our 2D view. And these came from the original file that was created, and I'm pretty happy with those. If I want to go ahead and adjust those, I can. But I think those are great just where they are. So let's go ahead and maximize our 3D view again. We'll call this cutout. And we'll calculate that. We'll preview our visible toolpath. And because we have our double-sided view turned on, as we go ahead and rotate this around, we'll see that we can see both sides of our project at one time, making sure that everything lines up. And at this point, if I'm not happy with the results, I can go ahead and reset up my toolpaths, change my vectors, or do whatever else I need to make everything look correct before I go ahead and save these off and run them on my machine. Now, one more thing I want to show you about a double-sided job or a two-sided project is that when you go ahead and save off your toolpaths, you have a new option that says Add Side to the toolpath name. So if we turn on all of our toolpaths, we make sure that that is turned on. If we go ahead and choose a post processor for our desktop machine, I can save off those toolpaths by clicking Save. And if we go back and look at where I saved off those toolpaths to, you'll see that it's already amended because we're on the bottom side of our project, bottom to the front of the toolpath name. So I know exactly what side of the project I need to be on when I run these toolpaths. So now all I need to do is flip to the other side, save off those toolpaths, and run them on my machine. Let's review how we're going to go about cutting these toolpaths. So let's close this down. Let's go back to the top side of our job. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to cut everything that's on the top side of our project. And then once it's all done, it should look a lot like this, if I hide all my vectors and so on. Then what I want to do is to take my material off my machine, insert the dowels into the dowel holes that are in the table, and then flip my material the way I have my flip set up here, which is across my job, and put it back down on my machine again, and then go ahead and cut the toolpaths that are on the back side of my project. It's really important that you remember which direction you're going to flip your material in.